Can traps and puzzles be as much fun for the players to solve as they are for the GM to think up? Yes, but only if you stop doing them wrong. These days, your answer to who built this dungeon might be 200 years ago they built a church on an ancient sacred site and accidentally tunneled through into an ancient forgotten crypt, which leads to a natural cave system which connects to, rather than who built this dungeon having the answer, I did, I'm the dungeon master. So this means you will have thought about who built the walls, what use the repurposed chambers were originally constructed to serve, where have the current occupants come from and how did they take over, won't you? And the all-important, if the occupants don't stand frozen in time awaiting the party's arrival, how do they live among all this peril? Two of the mainstays of the role-playing game master toolbox we've always been told are traps and puzzles. But holding a screwdriver the other way round stops it working. Not grasping a box cutter by the right end will hurt you. You are hurting your game if you do the same with traps and puzzles. Never mind the old school revival. Back in the day, traps were a way for GMs to kill characters. The mentality was that of the dungeon master versus the players, their enemies. One person sets up a near impossible series of challenges and the others run a series of parties through it until one finally survives. Total party kills were a badge of DM pride. Not everywhere, but it was prevalent. Compendiums of ever more improbable devices were gleefully lapped up, such as the Grimtooth Traps collection. Impossible to detect, impossible to avoid, completely fatal, sometimes very, very funny. Some people will say that these were just humour and never would ever use them in an actual game. But in the absence of the sort of peer group horizontal RPG advice we have these days through YouTube channels like this, the idea that dungeons had impossible traps gained currency. Otherwise, why would the books be up to volume 7? But just imagine for a moment if on your bedroom door you added a fake doorknob that plays the Macarena. It's bright red, looks nothing like the real one. I bet it'd be less than a week before you accidentally set it off. Imagine if it looked exactly like the real one and your housemates were actual goblins. Oh, and it kills people. Presenting your players with a random object alone in a room and leaning in to ask with the grim, but do you touch it? As a flex of your godlike control of the game universe is, I don't know how else to say it, boring. It's not just bad storytelling, it's teaching your players that you can't be trusted and sets up the expectations that dungeons will be literal crawls and take forever to work through. Next, they'll say, oh, well, we'll skip that room, move down the corridor. So next you say, well, it's the only route. And then you're all, so do you step on the floor? And traps should be a kind of puzzle. Puzzles should be fun. The only fun thing about a puzzle is the thrill of realizing you have a solution. So in many ways, the solution is the solution. A trapped chest that only the big bad has the combination to, and which deals damage they're immune to, makes sense. Put scorch marks around it. They can find the combination or bypass the trap or disarm it. Get your players out of that deathly crawl of checking every door and box and subsequent 10 feet of corridor for traps by signposting them. The role is now not to spot the trap, but to spot how it works and have a head start on disarming it or avoiding it. Signposts like pressure plates, the first dart misses. Trap door, there's a really big pool of blood with a suspiciously straight edge. Runes on flagstones, they sparkle. And look, there's a corpse all the way across the floor. I'll say this again, but slower. Don't hide traps. Your players hate. Oops, you're dead. I guarantee it. You are not their enemy. I have some ideas about the other kinds of puzzles too, and the perennial problem of the GM thinks it's a well-known nursery rhyme, but the players took a wrong turn early on and are now debating quantum poetry out of character. Puzzles that can be solved in character without resorting to a die roll are a great tool, but that's more screwdrivers than box cutters, so I'll save that for another video. Letting your players know in advance they don't need to scour unremarkable flaws for touch-activated doom is a great way to ensure they have expectations about the pace of the game you want to run. If you want to hear more about how shorter adventures are a great way to keep them engaged, then I think you should watch this video next.